Hello, explorers, and welcome to episode 54, where we're going to do a deep dive on the upcoming new Disney show, The Acolyte. And we hear from the explorers your comments and thoughts and predictions. Stay tuned for more. Hello, explorers, and today joining me aboard the Gaze Eccentric is a man with more charm than Lando Calrissian and more swagger than a Twi'lek dancing for their life at Jabba's palace. It's my main man, my best pal. It's Jimmy.
Oh my. Howdy, everybody.
How's your week been, mate?
Oh my goodness, Jack. I think this is the busiest week of my entire life. We left Thursday morning for swimming states, and I took 16 girls to Kansas City, basically, for swimming and diving state championships. And we were up there until Saturday. We didn't get home until midnight last night. I got up this morning and we started getting ready for our graduation party for Abigail and Vanessa, our two exchange students. So that just ended. I hopped on here with you, and as soon as that's over, we'll head out to the graduation for the school. So it's been a hectic couple days. I'm looking forward. This might be the first time I'm looking forward to Monday's school schedule, just so things will slow down for me for a bit. We only have, I have like 3 real days next week of teaching and like finals and everything. So I can't really complain because it'll all slow down a whole bunch for me. What's your week been like?
Nothing like yours, mate. On top of all that, you're running a podcast as well. Yeah, it's been nice and chilled out. Started the new job role. Just been busy in the evenings. Football was today instead of Saturday now, so we moved to practice. So I'm aching a little bit from that. Apart from that, it's been really, really nice weather here. So I've been out with the family, getting out, going to canal festivals, stuff like that, promoting the podcast with my Explore the Force hat. Hence why I forgot it. I've left it at home. Obviously, I travel back to camp on Sundays. So my wife is currently running around with that hat on back home. I've had loads of people reach out for these hats. And again, just for you listeners, the merchandise is definitely going to be coming your way at some point. So just keep eyes on all the socials. And speaking of you, the explorers, we have had a massive influx again of new members. And I know Jimmy loves this bit. Just by this look, there's a lot to get through. So, Jimmy, your time to shine. Who we got?
Some of these, okay. Darth Dad 0822, Hunting Fets, Lowenberger, Laszlo, Coruscant Knights, Daniel Sparks, Italian Ode 97, Shriek-Hawk, Mamar Wu Z90, Apocalypto TV, Jack Davidson, Sir Ian's Alots, Monty Wolf, Smitty 237, Bronson Swanson Johnson, Jack Davidson, Janine Bangsbury, Larry McHugh, John Silas. So thanks for all that, Jack.
Yep, brilliant job as always. I always leave the pronunciations to you, Jimmy. A lot more educated than me. Again, though, thank you so much to all the guys and girls joining. And again, thank you to all of those that are promoting the podcast. It's working. Keep going. Again, if you'd like to join us, please jump on our social medias on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter or X, and Threads and YouTube. And please do not forget to like, share, and also subscribe on the YouTube. There's absolutely loads of content and there's still more to come. And like I said right at the start of this, we're growing so fast, aren't we? It's absolutely taken off this year, just over a year into the podcast. And, we're at a stage we never thought we would be at, especially at this early on in the game. As always, then, we're going to go straight into our Force encounters.
I'll go ahead and start. It's been a slow, it hasn't been a slow week. It's been a slow Star Wars week.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing has been the anticipation for doing this show and just getting ready for the show to air on June the 4th. I'm really, really excited for this. I hope that it comes across when we're talking about it. I'm pumped, and I didn't really have a ton of encounters. I met a kid yesterday who saw my tattoos and was like, "Hey, is that basic?" And I was like, "Yeah." And we started talking a little Star Wars. And he was an employee at Raising Cane's, which is an awesome chicken joint here in the States. And we were talking. I told him about the podcast, so hopefully we'll see him join up here pretty soon. But yeah, a slow week, but just the anticipation for June the 4th is. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I would put this up there with like Ahsoka, like how excited I was for that show. So
Yeah.
despite what people on YouTube think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, funnily enough, I've been actually the same and quite quiet on the Force Encounters myself. But yeah, I do feel that, especially lately, with there seems to be a lot of stuff being pushed out for that Acolyte in small drips and drabs, but in quite large or quite fast over the few days, like pumping it out, so to speak. But you know me, I'm so hyped for this since Celebration.
Yeah.
When we saw that trailer, you know my reaction. I cannot wait, and I'll defend it until it's actually been aired, and then we'll get my honest opinion. It's just totally the same with the Skeleton Crew. As much as I sort of come across as like, I'm not too fussed about it, I'll judge it once I've seen it, because that's the only fair way I believe you can do it. I know. But we've been battling off the haters, so to speak, or people that think it's a bit negative. But we're going to talk about that on the main part of the show. I'm going to lead into now then is the news coming from Batuu. Awesome bit of news to start off with. I am absolutely hyped for this bit of news. And if it's happening, I cannot wait. Total War Star Wars. I've been playing Empire Fall, or For the Empire, I think it's called, the old school version. Empire at War, I think it is, or Empire Fall, I can't remember. But anyway, it's similar to Total War. Graphics are real old school. The gameplay is real old school on the PC. And when this was announced, I literally lost my mind. I'm a big fan of all the Total War series, from the Warhammer to the Pharaoh stuff, Rome. So yeah, if this is true, it's rumored to be true. We've got to wait a few years yet, but again, we've got lots of game goodness coming. Obviously, we've got the Hunted stuff coming in June the 4th, the mobile game that's been in the works for a few years. We mentioned that last week. Obviously, we've got Outlaws as well. So there's enough Star Wars game goodness at the minute just to keep me going. What news have you got, Jimmy?
Yeah, so back at London Celebration in April 2023, it's weird. It's been a year or over a year now, and then we're less than a year away from going to Japan, so that's exciting. But James Mangold revealed that he had been working on an untitled Star Wars film that he would both write and direct, which would explore the origins of the Jedi Star Wars. During an interview, though, producer Simon Emanuel spoke briefly on James Mangold's upcoming untitled Star Wars flick. Manuel said that the following: James Mangold's Jedi Prime is set thousands and thousands of years before the original trilogy, and I'm really excited to see what happens there. Is this the title, do we think, or not? So yeah, they talked about Jedi Prime. I don't know. I have no idea. We've seen a couple of different things. The Dawn of the Jedi, I think, is what we saw.
That's
that
what
was the rumors.
Yeah, that's what it started out originally, Celebration.
Yeah, but I mean, he talked about it being like a Ten Commandments style, like the beginning of everything kind of thing. Which there's got to be some pressure to deliver that. I mean, I wonder how hesitant they are too, because Disney reacts pretty badly when it comes to box office stuff. And his last venture, even though I loved the movie Indiana Jones 5, I thought that was a lot. It's different for me. I grew up with Indiana Jones. He's like my, so I appreciated the aging and stuff like that. But that movie lost a ton of money. So I'm surprised that the rug hasn't been yanked out underneath them, but I'm still excited for this. I just don't. I consider myself a pretty creative person. I have no idea where I would start. Trying to create, like, unless you have like two brothers or two sisters or something, the Ashla and the Bogan, the light and the dark, and that's where they get their names. Or I mean, there's a lot of tales and a lot of things, like a lot of stories you could pull from. Well, now that I just said, see, there we go. Here goes my brain now. But yeah, so it's going to be tough, because once you set it out and you put it out there, it's canon. And despite all the yelling and screaming that people will do that don't like it, they're not going to reset it. So
100%.
I hope he knocks it out of the park for his sake and for ours.
Yeah,
What about
because
you?
like you said, mate, it's gonna have a massive ripple effect. You know, they've got to get this right if it's starting from the very beginning. And
Right.
obviously, you've got all these movies, the TV series, the books, etc., etc. So from the very very start, it's a mammoth task. It is a
Oh,
mammoth task.
I that's daunting. I don't know. Like that's kudos to him for being willing to take that on
Yeah,
and for
yeah,
hopefully having a great idea and hopefully they bring in some good writers and things like that and
yeah,
they knocked it out of the park. But yeah, that's exciting. I mean,
yeah.
who knows when that'll happen? I know he's getting ready. Was he finishing up his Bob Dylan
Yes,
biopic or something like that? And then he's
yeah,
moving on. He's coming. Like this will be his getting his full attention next. So that's exciting.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't wait. Maybe we get to see him again in Japan. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, no, good shout, good shout. If not him, maybe someone else. Because, like we said, it is going to be a mammoth task. He's definitely got to get George Lucas and Dave Filoni to give him a hand. There's no way this is a solo effort.
No, that would be insane
Yeah,
task to handle. Like, I mean, yeah, I think you go out and you talk to every single person who's ever been involved in Star Wars. You bring back
100%.
to everybody. I mean, the people who have been part of the High Republic stuff. You just get them all in a room. You're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
And those are some of the most creative people in the world. They're
yeah.
going to come up with something, and then and it's just brainstorming it. I'd love to be a fly on that wall just to hear
Oh
the
gosh.
ideas and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Also celebrating obviously Phantom Menace's anniversary. Ahmed Best has mentioned that the work that he showed off in The Mandalorian Chapter 20, Season 3, barely scratched the surface of his skills, and he'd also be keen on a John Wick style for his Jedi character, Kellyan Beck. Now, I know what he means by a John Wick style, but I can't see a Star Wars John Wick style film. I totally understand what he means. I would love to see more of Kellyan Beck. I think we will. I don't think that's just going to stay where it was. But yeah, it did make me laugh. A John Wick style Star Wars film. What do you reckon about that, Jimmy?
okay, I'm glad my best is back. I'm glad he's got Keller and Beck to hang his hat on now. He I just don't know if I would buy him as a John Wick style. As he just seems so nice. I mean,
Yeah,
I know Keanu Reeves seems so nice, but like he's been in so many martial arts movies and things like that, and he doesn't come across mean in those movies. I guess I don't know. Maybe he could pull it off. I don't see. I mean, I love that franchise of John because just recently the guy who I can't think of his name was like, "Yeah, I'd love to do a Star Wars movie."
yeah,
I would love a John Wick style, but if it was like Boba Fett or somebody else, I can't, because a Jedi is not going to go John Wick style unless he
no.
absolutely is forced into,
A young Django Fett would be a good one, wouldn't it?
yeah, something like that. I could see happening. Um, but I just the idea of a Jedi
Yeah,
going John Wick style. I mean, that doesn't even fit the
no,
Jedi unless he's going to tap into the dark side. But I mean, you kind of get to do that at the end of the Last Jedi uh, game a little bit. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but um, I mean, it would be cool. I'd love to see it set in space. They've done it in what different? They've done it in World War II now. They've done it in,
yeah,
I think, was it Monkey Man? It was like
yeah,
India
yeah.
version of it. I think they did a Native American one as well. So I mean, there people were jumping on that train because
Oh yeah,
it's not hard to there's no whole dialogue you can screw up. But I don't know. I just don't see him on best.
nah.
He just seems like such a sweet guy. I can't see
I
him.
think he got ahead of himself. I think with what he was saying. I think the closest thing to a John Wick style Jedi slash Sith would be Darth Revan. I don't know how many people that are upset, but I'd be down for that. A bit of Darth Revan.
Yeah, I mean, because you'd have to. I mean, it couldn't be a Jedi. I mean,
No, but
that's not
yeah.
what they're gonna do.
Funnily enough, the
Lords of
guy
the
that
Sith.
gets linked with Revan is Keanu Reeves as well.
Yeah, that's true. And then there is talk that he'll show up in the Acolyte, which we're going to talk about. What about have you read Lords of the Sith?
I haven't. No.
There is a scene in there where Vader and the Emperor are going absolute ham on these alien things, like these monsters. That's about the closest thing I think I've read in Star Wars. And that, you can see those two going completely,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I guess if you look at the end of Rogue One, that's kind of John Wick-esque.
yeah,
About 10 seconds of
yeah,
but yeah, I would love to see it in Star Wars. I think it's a bad idea to do a Jedi. Maybe you do like anti-hero, some kind of like someone who's turned their back to the Jedi. You get like was it Ty Yorick or the bounty hunter thing or something like that. But I just can't see Alma Best being that character. So
totally agree.
But I'm for the idea, but not for him doing it.
Yeah, awesome. And that pretty much then wraps up this week's news. Okay, so this week's main topic then is the Acolyte. And as always, we put the feelers out there and the post for you, the explorers, to get your thoughts and comments and predictions back to us. And as always, you replied in your droves. Again, thank you very much for all your comments. We've done our best to read as many of them out. Jimmy, start us off then. Who have we got?
All right. We got some of the usual suspects here and some new people. All right. So we got Darren Briscoe. Going back to your question, the initial pitch to Lucasfilm for the Acolyte was Kill Bill meets Frozen. We've seen some of the crazy Kill Bill style fighting, so that leaves the Frozen part. Two sisters, one of whom turns a bit nasty for a while, though not twins in the animated film. I could see it in that teasing snippet. One being mistaken for the other. It's so intriguing. I'm open-minded about this and extremely excited. New Star Wars that looks to be unlike anything we've seen and will no doubt change the lore of what we know. So he's kind of referencing, we kind of talked about some of the new footage shows Amanda Stenberg dressed very differently and acting very differently. So the idea of the twins, we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that's kind of what he's referencing with the Kill Bill and the Frozen about the sisters. Wayne Cooper Smith. So looking forward to this. Carrie-Anne Moss is a Jedi and Mass Sith at the end of the trailer. Oh my. So Wayne's really excited for it. Daryl Armstrong is, I have no idea or clue, going in open-minded. And then Adrian Chorley, cautiously optimistic. So and then we know too for a fact, and I don't, we tend to have positive people because like that's what we do. But just on YouTube, there are some people we were talking with that are not optimistic about it. And so that there's questions to be answered for sure. And if they're not answered and they jack something up, we'll just want to make that clear. We don't love everything. Like I said in that short I did on Saturday, like if we would have been doing this show during Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi, I have some complaints. So, it just happens to be that we've enjoyed everything that's come out, and I don't know.
For sure. And like you said there, we don't enjoy everything, but again, with the less optimistic people, let's say, or people that don't find stuff interesting, or I gotta say negative, but not really negative, just back it up with the reasons why. It's all good saying it, and back it up, and that's what this podcast is about. It's about discussing why. And sometimes not all the time, but you may change my mind anyway. I think, I can see what you mean. I see your point of view. And something from all these comments, it finishes pretty much with Adrian, to be honest. Everyone's cautious or optimistic, open-minded, every single person.
Yeah, I'm nervous. So, I mean, if this goes bad, that's going to be terrible because they've already talked about a season 2 being written. Like there's already mentions of them going back to the, supposedly this made the people, when they made this pitch, it made Kathleen Kennedy cry, or some of the other people creatives, like they love the story so much. I don't know if I believe all that. I mean, who knows? But I mean, we'll see. And if it's not great, we'll let you.
Yeah, you'll hear it here first for sure, 100%. As always, then, thank you so much for all your comments. Again, keep sending them in when we're asking, and we'll read them out as and when we can. Cool. So let's dive straight in then to the Acolyte. Okay, so we're going to start off nice and easy, I think, Jimmy. And the first thing I'm going to ask is the Acolyte then. Are you excited? And if you are, why? And if you're not, also why? Nice and steady.
If you can't tell yet, Jack, I'm super excited for this. I mean, all the stuff that's been said and everything, Leslie Headland this, Leslie Headland that. Like, I mean, maybe she has done things, whatever. She says some things. A lot of the stuff she said has been taken out of context.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff that she's saying that people aren't reporting on is like how much she was influenced by the arena scene and, in Attack of the Clones, and how she wanted to bring that back to live action. And she seems like she knows what she's talking about. She seems like she was really a nerd, and really, she says she was writing fan fiction and things like. So was Jon Favreau when he was a kid, and everyone loves the Mando, right? We'll see, but everything I've seen in the trailer so far, that fight scene, we've gotten more and more of that. Multiple lightsabers, the guy at the, the Sith at the end, or the Acolyte at the end, whoever that is.
Yeah.
The idea of a murder mystery in Star Wars, like everything about this screams like potential is there. Now they got to stick the landing,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen. I mean, oh my god, we're gonna talk about some of the stuff, but like Kalneka. I mean, you got Jonas back doing what he does. He's the reason I love Wookiees. Just oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, I can't wait. I feel like you felt at Celebration. So
Yeah.
what about you though?
Yeah,
I mean,
like you mentioned, I don't want to get too caught up in saying stuff like, Celebration was a brilliant time. It was my first one. I don't feel that I was caught up with the whole Celebration thing. I think I was genuinely excited. You already mentioned it. That I'm a big fan of Leslie Headland. As soon as she mentioned the work that she was putting in beforehand when she was drawing the story, writing the stories, drawing stuff on at school and stuff like that as well. And yeah, the Attack of the Clone scene in the arena and on the trailer when you see all those Jedi and all the sabers going up in tandem, that for me, the roof on my head just blew off. There's nothing more I like than seeing loads of lightsabers. I don't know what it is, and just fighting scenes.
well,
It's the whole point of Star Wars to me is lightsabers, isn't it? But
yeah.
saying that, you look at like Andor, no lightsabers are absolutely fantastic. So it's sort of contradicted myself a little bit. But yeah, and coming off the stuff off the High Republic as well, they've dropped it at the right time. I'm on a high with the High Republic things. Yes, I was caught up a bit with the passion of everyone else, but I went to the High Republic panel as well. It was mentioned there. And you can really see the love and the care that she's putting into it, just like you did with Dave Filoni when he was talking about the stuff he'd done with the Clone Wars. So it's sort of, to me, as weird as it seems, she does seem like a female version of Dave Filoni in a sense, with the amount of passion. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, I agree with you fully. I know there's some stuff hanging over her that may or may never come to light, but I'm going to just you have to kind of pause on stuff. I mean, in our country, at least, guilty until proven, or innocent until proven guilty. It seems like it's been the reverse in the media, but everything she says that's not taken out of context. I think you're spot on. I think she might be the exact right person for this, and everyone's screaming from the rooftops about we need women this, we need women that. The best person for the job should be hired, and I think that she was. Like, if she delivers on this, then give her more. It's like Bryce Dallas Howard, give her more. Like, I have zero issues with females running things, being
I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
all this stuff. Like, no one's even focused on the fact that like the main character is going to be a female. Oh no, like give us a strong female character that we can fall in love with, like Omega and Jyn Erso and all them, and people will eat it up, man. And I think like you said, everything she says, I think you're exactly spot on. I remember sitting in Chicago and people were not excited about The Mandalorian. Do you remember the negativity coming out about The Mandalorian after Celebration? And I was like, what do you people like? I could not understand a lot of the people that I followed on social media and things like that. Come like, wow, it didn't look fit. I'm like, do you listen to Dave and John talking? They're like just two dudes who absolutely love Star Wars. And they were just, I mean, you could tell how much love and passion they had for it. And you can hear it in Leslie Headland too. And, and the fact that she was brave enough to bring in writers, she didn't think she could do it all on her own. Right. So right there shows you like leadership wise, she brought in people who don't know Star Wars that are going to be looking for the best story to tell.
Yeah.
So they brought in people that know Star Wars to keep the canon in line. Like, what more do you want? Like, you've got all these bases covered. You got people focused on the story, people focused on the lore. Max all mushed into a room with a person who loves Star Wars, loves nerdom, loves the fandom. I'm pumped.
Yeah, and that leads me nicely actually into the next point that I want to discuss with you, mate. Because again, you've sort of mentioned you've led me beautifully into this next segment, but again, it's to do with Leslie Headland. Say again, sorry.
I said accidentally, of course.
Yeah, perfectly. Is the casting of the characters? Who she's picked, and again, just seeing some interviews coming out last week. Some of the people. I'll start with the obvious one, Vanessa Rowe. Her wife to be, I think, or they're married now. I'm not quite sure.
I do believe they're married now.
Yeah, again, it's incredibly brave at the same time, I think, to do this. But again, because she's so, she's into this. This is everything for her. I feel. Otherwise, she'd never have casted it. And I think the casting for Vanessa, what we've seen, there's some of the pictures. We'll talk about the lightsaber whip later on, but the costume, just the look of Vanessa, for me, again, it's perfect.
Rebecca Henderson.
That's the one. So I'm interested to see where and how much we see of Vanessa in this. What's your thoughts on it, Jim? Because I know you're a big High Republic fan as well.
Oh my gosh, I've loved Vern since that first young reader book. I just thought her character, and then of course they introduce. Can we talk about the whip yet? Or are we saving that?
We'll save that.
So they got, she struggles with that, and then her character growth in the books, and then now we're into phase 3. I missed Vern a ton during phase 2. Like I missed a lot of our Jedi from phase 1 during phase 2, and I'm glad to be back with them. But Vern's story and how things start out for her, I'm excited, and the fact that she's lived this long. Like I had said something when it first came out, like because she's kind of going through it, and there's some stuff that's going to happen in these books. I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to play out, but Vern has seen some stuff, like Leslie Headland has said. He has seen some things, and she's in the middle of some stuff. She's hiding things from the Jedi, and and we'll get into all that later in some other episodes someday. But I keep saying that, but we will dive into it one of these days. But I think bringing that character in is phenomenal. And if you're going to put the person that you love the most in your life as that character, you must really believe
back yourself.
Because if not, you and your significant other are toast. This fandom is relentless.
It's religion.
We're positive right now. You screw it up, you're going to hear about it. So I'm super excited for the fact that I think she even said that at Celebration. She's like, I love this character so much, I put my wife in it.
Yeah, she did.
And I'm like, well, think about what you would do for your husband or your wife or your partner. You're not going to put them in a place that's for failure.
No.
So super excited for this character. I don't think, I said, I do think it'll be sparingly.
Oh, for sure.
I wonder how much we see. Is she going to be like we don't really know, like prediction wise, I guess too, is like, is Yoda going to be around, all those masters on the council, like Oppo Rensisis and
there was a picture today I saw of Yoda in the council chamber. I don't know if it's accurate or 100% true of it being the Acolyte. But I think there'll be a possibility.
And they've done a good job of keeping him out of the books for the most part, but when they bring him in, he's Big Yoda. Boss. I mean, him and Yaddle drop, in phase 2, they come in and lay waste to something. I mean, it's awesome. Like I want to see this, but I'm pretty excited for that. Maybe she's like the main character. Like I think there's going to be connection. I'm wondering if she was Master Soul's master, and that's why he has that connection to her. Like why he's asking her permission to go do this. Is she on the council at this moment? I mean, she would be one of the older Jedi.
I think she's on the council.
115 years old. Yeah, and I kind of think that that's going to be that relationship there, and she has in some of the footage that we've just seen this weekend, she has another Jedi with her and things like that. So I'm super pumped for this.
Yeah, nice. Again, leading me into another one. Just off the bat, there we spoke about our significant others. I know a role my wife Christy and probably Molly would play is Kalnaka, the Wookiees. Don't kill me for that. But Jonas Sumatara, perfect casting for that. He's got it all nailed down. We have got some footage that we're going to play of Kalnaka, so it's always exciting to see a Wookiee, let alone a Jedi or Wookiee. We've got the footage good to go, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think so. Let me see if I can. I'm see if I can prep it here. But
it's big news. It is big news. I know we've seen obviously the Wookiees in the books with Boriaga, and we've seen the Wookiee in the animated stuff as well in the Clone Wars. I can't remember his name now. Who's the little Wookiee? In
the Clone Wars, Boriaga. Wait, no, Gunji.
Gunji, that's the one.
Yeah.
The Wookiee Jedis do exist. I know we see a lot of it, but now to see it in live action, and we were privileged to see the Kalnaka costume, weren't we, as well at Celebration?
Yeah, you come out in it. So I think I got it set up to just about the time.
Now she is a student of the dark side, an acolyte.
I didn't do it!
Yeah.
Believe me!
Quick.
There he is.
There's not much to it, but
There
you
he
can see
was.
him here. He's kind of force pushing down another Jedi, which we can talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he looks, dude, if you're on YouTube, not on YouTube, just go and look up this trailer, and he looks outstanding.
Yeah,
absolutely outstanding. Really he's got himself, got some Jedi robes on. I wonder how long that lightsaber is, as far as like, because just how big he is. But oh man,
the Wookiees are fair enough. I mean, Carl Stanton as well, and Chewbacca, they put the fear into any person really. But seeing a Jedi Wookiee, Kyle Nacker, and that screaming, it's like woof.
Yeah.
You don't want to cross that. And something you mentioned there about the costume and that, something I meant spotted in the pictures that I didn't realize till someone had said it, but he's got like a bald head, hasn't he?
Yeah, I can't remember. Bring this up real quick. Yeah, he has like a top knot or something's going on up there. Some of the photos from the very first like scene photos, and I didn't notice it in the posters that we have seen, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious as to what this is about. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe he's lost some hair in a lightsaber battle and it hasn't grown back yet.
Yeah. Again, just speaking of the cast, we're not going to go through all the cast. We're just going to pick out a couple of the main personnel, so to speak, just to keep it quite short with the characters, because we've got so much to discuss. Carrie-Anne Moss speaks for herself. We've seen the fight scene now, inside and out. Again, a high-profile actor, in my opinion. Great casting straight away. Perfect for the Force Woo, as copyrighted by us, well, Jimmy. Very, very talented actor. So I'm super excited to see Indara in it. Hoping for more, but I'll talk about that in my prediction. And then the last one, really, I'd want to talk about, you might have another one or two, Jimmy, is Sol, Master Sol, Lee Jung-jae. I think I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
She mentioned it earlier. She was watching him on Squid Games and just said, that's Master Sol right there. And he has got that incredible talent, like she mentioned, of switching emotions so quickly. And we see that in most of the trailers as it is. I know he struggled to speak English because he struggled at Celebration, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think everything was translated for him, but everything we've heard, and it sounds like he's learned his lines, because I think like Baze Malbus, the guy who I can't think of his character's name, but he didn't speak any English either, and just learn their lines. And
yeah, but this goes back to what we're saying, mate. These people that they're passionate about it, they wouldn't have never took the job. Yes, they might get paid a few billion, million, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're putting your acting career, I think personally, on the line and stuff like this. You've got to get it nailed right.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Daisy Ridley. She has a hard time, and I mean, even Mark Hamill, right? I mean, he left Star Wars and wasn't even putting it on that. He's doing a lot of plays and, theater stuff, and wouldn't even mention it. I mean, how many movies has Mark Hamill been in outside of the Star Wars franchise?
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting
this
question.
can, like in Harrison Ford is like the one, Adam Driver maybe the newest one that has seen success from.
I'll probably say Liam Neeson as well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I mean, these people, they know that it's riding on it. They also know they're set too, because once you're in Star Wars, you can go and do the circuit, and you go to celebrations, and you go to these things, and you can probably make a nice little living just traveling around and doing.
As Natalie Portman joked about, you've seen that video.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, we mentioned about the cast. There's loads of other ones. Again, the only one I'd really, well, they're all talented, but the only one I'd really talk about now as well is Mother Anzia, Jodie Turner-Smith.
Oh yeah, the character looks amazing.
Oh,
like looks real unique. Looks what I assume the Path of the Hand looks like.
Yes,
from Phase 2. So. Like
there's a lot of inspiration there, I think.
Yeah, she looks awesome, and some of the I think I can't remember which trailer. We know we got 2 big trailers and a bunch of short ones now.
Yeah.
And she has she talks about the Force in a way where like the Force isn't going to determine anything. And that's a nice little quote, and I'm excited to see what her character's motivation is and all that kind of stuff too. But she looks phenomenal. I don't know what else she's been in, if I'm being honest. But she like the character looks great. I'm excited for her.
Yeah, she looks awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much. Probably talk about Amanda Steenberg a little bit more if I'm honest, but I want to move on to predictions because that's the biggest part. I think I'm super keen on predictions. Have you got any other cast members or anything like that, Jimmy? You want to talk about?
Because I mean, I think we need to talk about Amanda Stenberg because I mean, she may be playing more than one character, and everything we've seen so far, and we've really just seen the fight scenes with her.
Yeah,
and you're matched up against Carrie Ann Moss of the Matrix trilogy, or well, I guess it's 4 movies they've been in now for the Matrix movies. You've got to have put in some work to be able to not look foolish with that lady, because so I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And if some of our predictions we'll talk about, I don't get too much away, but I think she's great. Daphne Keane, you've got some yet talented young actors coming in. Daphne Keane, famous for being Little Weapon X, basically, in Old Man Logan, and just terrorizing fools. And so I'm excited. And then some of the stuff that I've read from her, she's playing Padawan Jeki. Was it a Thielen, I believe? It'll be like the first time we've seen live action since like Jabba's palace, I believe.
Yeah.
But she comes from a background of like some martial arts, and I'm not sure how much she did when she was a little kid, but I mean, she had to do with some of that stuff. So, and she talked really passionately about how the fighting in the lightsaber dueling was almost how it kind of became part of the character. And so I'm excited for that. And I've seen a lot recently that the fighting and the choreography is like a character in this, and it's going to be intense. They brought supposedly brought the person in that helped with the Vader scene at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Who helped choreograph that. So that's where we're starting. So we know we're going to build on that. And so, yeah, I'm excited for those 2 young ladies. I want good, strong characters. Yord, I'm not real sure about his character. I think he's going to annoy me. He's going to be like a stick in the mud, but he doesn't seem like a stick in the mud funny like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He just seems like a stick in the mud, like, this is the rule. I got to follow it. But it also makes me think like only Sith deal in absolutes. So I wonder if he's that hardcore on the rules or whatever. But
I've got something in mind from a prediction with him.
So I'm trying to think of what else. We talked about Vernestra. There's some side characters, Kaneka, but yeah, for the most part, those main characters that we've seen so far, and I'm sure we'll get to introduce some new ones. But I'm real excited for all this whole cast and just getting Jonas back, and that's one of the reasons I love.
It's such a strong cast, and we still don't know who's playing the Sith yet. It could be one of those actors before we know.
Yeah.
But we don't know who the Sith is. So it's got to be someone quite known. I suspect with the cast that we've got. I think I would be.
They're doing a good job of keeping it low key, hidden from us. So
yeah. Massively. Cool. So predictions then, and rumors that what we think again with this is nothing's confirmed what we're talking about at all. As much as I'd love to have inside information, it's zilch. We're just making this up, I think, so to speak, with our creative minds. I'll start us off briefly. So obviously we've seen things, but as always, we've got to keep an open mind. I've mentioned it all the time. We are our own worst enemies. The amount of times I've made theories and stuff like that, and it's completely the opposite thing. So yeah, Jimmy's not really that far off with most things. Me, I'm completely wild. Yeah, I think we are going down the route of twins of 100%. With, like you said in the news, Leslie Edlund's mentioned the Frozen stuff. We've seen trailers now of May, different versions of. There she is there in the cliff scene, and I'm also getting Ahsoka vibes from the Clone Wars. She's proven it wasn't her, which would explain. Well, it wouldn't actually explain if it's not it's a twin, etc. So I'm interested to see where that leads. I don't think Yord is what he makes out to be. I've just got a strange feeling about him. I think he's the guy that's like that will betray people. If I'm honest, I don't know why. It's just something about it. It just seems to always be at the rear rather than at the forefront of things. There's a few trailers where there's one where with Jackie, for example, and his behind her, for example, and then the other trailer is like, oh, what's that? And it's like, well, come on. You know, he seems to be quick to spot the danger, but never at where the danger is, so to speak. I have no idea about this. I call it the path of the open hand. That theory there is baffled me. What role they have? I know. Again, I don't know, but I'm thinking that may come from there. Maybe it's some form of open hand sort of thing, like the High Republic was trying to get revenge. Master Sol, I believe, is going to be the main character in this throughout. The supporters will be Vanessa Rowe and Kalnaka. I think Endara is going to die in that fight scene. I think just from the trailers that I've seen, I think she ain't going to last very long, which is a shame if it happens. I'd love to see more Force Woo from her. But at the same time, I am thinking, what a way to go out if that is the way that she does go out. Yeah, super excited about that. I think Jacky's going to have a big part to play as well. I think people are going to underestimate Jacky.
Yeah, there's a scene where Jacky and see if I can bring it up here for the people on YouTube, but there's a scene where Jacky and so right here, there's Jacky. So that's Master Sol's Padawan right now. And if this is actually the girl we think it is, it may or may not have been Master Sol's Padawan. But yeah, I think you're right. She's been in the forefront of a lot of things. There's been a lot of focus on her.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
And then I think my final prediction, so to speak, or theory is, and probably the biggest one I think at the minute of the show, is the Sith. Who is the Sith? I have no idea, if I'm totally honest. I think they've done such a great job of giving next to nothing away, but giving us enough to keep us satisfied. Even with some of the stuff I've read, canon stuff, Plagueis I've seen knocking around a young Palpatine, but I don't think it's going to be a young Palpatine at all. I think that's absolutely bonkers. I have no idea. I literally do have no idea who this Sith could be. I don't even think it's May's twin, the Sith, either. I think May's twin is going to be the Acolyte, because we know it's a person that studies under like a religious person or something. I think I read. But yeah, that's pretty much my theories. It's not a lot, but I'm keeping it short and sharp and sweet. Again, I'm approaching this open-minded, super hyped. I am really hyped for this. What about you, Jimmy? What's your predictions and theories? Go for it.
I had forgotten about the twin theory until this weekend, and I talked about it a little bit. But this young lady that we're showing on here, so in the newest trailer, they show them on that snowy planet, and she's running away from them, and then she turns, and they zoom in on her, and she's like begging for Master Sol. Like, I believe this is actually May.
Yeah.
I think this is the girl that may have been his Padawan, and I think so, because that's not the same girl who's fighting Master Endar. Like the difference in character, and if that's true too, like Amanda Stanberg is doing a really good job, because it's got to be very difficult to play the same person but differently.
Yeah.
I totally with you on the twin thing. Like Darren, I think it was a Darren who's talked about, that maybe that's the frozen aspect of things, sisters.
Yeah.
But I'm interested because they show a little bit of, they've showed a couple of times now of Master Sol handing his lightsaber to that little girl, and the Coven is right behind him. So Mother Anastasia is right there, and so there's going to be some bitterness, because we've seen this a little bit, even in some different things in the most recent book I'm reading right now, in the Living Force. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but one of the main villains is real pissed at the Jedi for some things that have happened in her. And I think she's taking a little out of context, but not everyone loves the Jedi. Not everyone loves having their friends or children taken away from them. So I feel like this could be what this Coven is upset about, and maybe they're sending him after him. And I also think maybe with Jord, like you said, that it's a possibility that if I can get sorry, hang on one second.
Shift.
Pause that. This young man right here, the one that Kalneka's fighting, what is his name? Tobin, I think you said.
Tobin, yeah. Dean Charles. I can't remember his full name, but yeah, Tobin's his name.
He's under the influence of the sisterhood, or if it's not a sisterhood, I'm not sure. It looks like the two people behind him are both female. But anyway, so what if Jord is like even further in, where they can get him to do the things they want him to do? Whatever. I think we could be being misled as far as like who's killing Jedi. Well, maybe it's other Jedi killing other Jedi, because they show Kalneka fighting this kid. They're at the very end of the most recent trailer. Yord is standing over with his yellow lightsaber, and you can see the red lightsaber looks like it's on the ground, like he was fighting whatever that is. So, there's a lot to be at play. I think there's going to be twists and turns left and right. I think that, the big concern and lots of people complaining about is that one line was it Mace Windu. It says it in Phantom Menace about, they haven't been around for 1,000 years. What if this is a Knight of Ren? Because I feel like that bad guy at the end with his grill, helmet, and things like that looks more like the Knight of Ren. And if you've watched or if you've read the comics, the Knight of Ren's like the first, so the first
run,
the Knights of Ren, the first run, his helmet has like it looks very similar. So then technically they're not breaking any rules, they're not messing up the canon. No. They're actually kind of helping canon because they're establishing the Knight of Ren. If they do that, I think that's kind of the direction we're going. And also in phase 2 of the High Republic, if you've read the comics, when they're on Jeddah, there's like 15, 20 just in those short comics of different versions of people that use the Force or don't use the Force, that respect the Force. I just think that they're going to bring some of that stuff to the main idea, and it's just going to help expand canon. And you can take things, you could have movies with Force users that aren't Jedi. What's wrong with that? But prediction wise, I have no idea how this is going to go. I think we are getting twins. I think that there's some shenanigans going on. Vern's going to have no more than what she lets on. So we'll see. Like I said before, I'm really pumped. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to keep us guessing all the way up. And like I said, they've already talked about going into the writer's room for season 2. So they're I again optimistically, cautiously optimistic, because if you recall, Ryan Reynolds got a 3-movie deal before The Last Jedi came out, and that's been shelved because of the backlash. So let's just get through the first one and see how it goes, and then maybe start the second one.
You've given me some more fuel for the fire as well. Two of the things that I'd like to talk about there is you talked about the coven or the motherhood. Is it could be that sort of coven where it's a bunch of mothers from across the galaxy that have got together that aren't happy, that want their kids back, because no one's going to ever be happy or willing to give their kid up. Unless you shoot Skywalker.
Tough. I want to bring this scene up real quick. Hopefully it doesn't play. It just stays put. Nope, that's the wrong one. Remove that. Add that.
I didn't do it.
Apologize to our listeners that are getting blasted with things they can't see, but so there's this short scene with all these acolytes. Let's look. Take a look. You see a single male in that group?
No,
maybe you're spot on. Maybe this is an actual coven of mothers that have lost their Jedi or lost their children,
potentially,
or something. Like, I mean, we can't see all of them, and I'm sure there are people out there who will fit that there's not a
all their eyes are all blacked out as well.
But so.
But it's an interesting point. There was something else that you mentioned as well that sort of gave me another idea. That's totally gone over my head. If it comes back into me, I'll try and get it in before the end of the show. But I think that might be a good point about the motherhood. I could see that kind of happening. And then you sort of spoke about it there at the end. It lead us into it again. It's a lot with the professionals at this now. One season wonder or potential to definitely have potential for 2, but like you rightly said, I think there's not really much to talk about on this. It depends on the backlash, doesn't it?
I mean, it has to, right? If people aren't going to want to watch it, and it's just going to cause more trouble. Like, you can believe in something, but the public, and I think it needs to be genuine, though. It can't be just the haters who are going to hate them. It could be the best thing in Star Wars. We've seen some very popular Star Wars YouTube channels trying not to be excited. It looks like when they're trying to talk about the Acolyte, like they want to be positive, but that's not their brand anymore. Their brand is negativity, and that's what's selling. So we'll see. And I hope that for Star Wars, I hope this is great and it just brings everyone back together and everyone loves it like they did
Yeah,
the first season of Mando.
I'd love that.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. It's just popped back into my head as well. So you're talking about the Jedi and stuff like that, and it's sort of popped another theory into my head. And this is the thing I love about Star Wars. You just talk about it all day and night. We haven't seen Jedi struggle for power, if that makes sense. You know, we've got these scenes where you mentioned there, Kalnaka fighting Yord. Yeah, there might be training, but it might be a case of that all these Jedi are actually vying for the #1 spot. We haven't seen that yet. Would it tie into this? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think that might be an interesting avenue to approach to a degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I think the last thing that we're going to cover before we wrap it up is the interesting things that we've spotted on some of the trailers. Obviously, we've already spoken about Kalnaka. There's a little fight scene we've spoken about, noticing the covens, the Sith. But the biggest one and the biggest question, and it finally got dropped this week. And I wish it hadn't got dropped, if I'm honest. I'd have just loved to see that myself.
Yeah, like they did not learn anything from the Phantom Menace. Like, why not just wait? Just wait. I know exactly what you're going to bring up, so go ahead.
But yeah, it's the light whip, Vanessa Rose light whip. We've all been waiting for it. It didn't show a great deal, if I'm honest. I'm more excited to see
cool,
the sound
though.
now. It does look cool, but I'm excited to see the sound. Are we going to get a whipping crack Indiana Jones feel to it, or
that would be that's a good question. Like, everyone's arguing about that. What's it going to sound like? Like,
yeah,
a lightsaber whip. I mean, what is that? I mean, what's the guy's name? Is it Burke, the guy, the father of the sounds of Star Wars, who goes out there and does everything, like John Burke or something like that, or Bill Burke, or I'm sure he'll knock it out of the park. He always does with the sounds, and there'll be some kind of creative like crackling of lightsaber, but with the Indiana Jones twist. And she's been working on using this light whip for 100 years. I mean, she's like 15, 16 when she becomes a Jedi or something like that. And then she turns and she figures out this lightsaber whip when she's pretty young. And then, we jump into, was it the second book we jump into? And she's like on that planet and she's practicing because she's not in the first one.
Escape from Valo, I think it was, isn't it?
Something like that. But the first book she's in during phase 3, she's on this planet because she's kind of run away from everything. And she's out there practicing with the light whip and getting good at it. And, I want to see the devastation in a not in a bat. Like, I don't want to see maiming.
He wants
people,
that John Wick style movie, guys.
Yeah, there's our John Wick version. If anyone's going to crack like an egg, it's probably going to be Vern after all the stuff she's seen.
Can you imagine if Vader had that in Rogue One at the end of that scene?
Oh, good Lord.
Done. Give me the plans.
Yeah. So, man, the franchise is done.
Yeah, easy as that.
But do you want me to play that footage real quick, or?
Yeah, let's see it. This is going to be the light whip in action again. Apologies to the guys on Spotify and other.
I mean, it is so fast that you can't
blink and you miss it.
For those people on YouTube, I'm gonna go through this real slow, but that looks incredible. Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, interesting to see. And I think that wraps up all the topics that I had. Have you got anything else, Jimmy, you want to speak about, or anything you've spotted?
No, I mean, I just think we got to pay attention. Like, these mothers, like they got Tobin under the, they seem to have like Tobin, that Jedi, if he's a Padawan or a Jedi, under their influence, and then they show Kalnaka. And of course that could be him and Kalnaka are sparring, and that maybe that's Kalnaka's Padawan. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. That's a good shout.
It looks like he's whooping his butt, but but it may not be. There's just so many little things. Whoever's creating these trailers is doing an awesome job. They show us just a sprinkle of new things each time that you got to kind of look for. I am still stunned, like you said, that they showed this light whip. Just given the fact that, like, why ruin that? Why give that away? Why that just happens in the middle of the show? You're like, what the,
And you mentioned it as well about the Phantom Menace and Darth Maul. If they'd waited and revealed that lightsaber then. Could you imagine that in the cinema?
Yeah, because I mean, remember, I hadn't seen really the trailers because I was living, at that park for the summer, so I wasn't really getting to see a lot of the trailers. And then in college, I didn't really watch television that much. So for me, I was like, whoa, that was nuts. And then, you know,
Yeah.
I like assume that if you're going to have a character like Vernestra, you've got to bring that weapon into play.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe there's bigger things then. That's what it says to me. Hopefully.
well, yeah, I think it's just like the fight scenes and stuff like that too. Like they're going to show this
Yeah.
great fight scene, you know, what we've called Force Fu. I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to get multiple Jedi fighting. We're going to have, you know, the Acolyte. Like, it's, you know, if that's a Knight of Ren, are there more knights? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be like, you know, 5-on-5, 10-on-5? You know, is it going to be like this big massive duel, kind of like the opening of like the Knights of the Old Republic? I think that's the one.
Well,
that
again,
really
you got it on the nail on the head, because again, if you just, again, listeners probably agree with me. If you remember back like 20 minutes ago in this episode, now you mentioned it, and Leslie Edlund said that she wanted to recreate that Jedi arena scene. So there's got to be more stuff, surely.
Oh yeah. So,
well, who knows? Who knows? As always, explorers, thank you so much for listening and supporting us. We super appreciate all the love that we're getting. Again, please, as always, join us on our socials. All one word, Explore the Force. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, Threads, and please don't forget to like, share, and especially subscribe to us on YouTube. The numbers are growing fast and rapid. Please come and join the community. We can't wait to meet some of you that are going to Japan and also to some of the cons up and down the country. So, as always then, from myself, Master, you were right about one thing. The negotiations were short.
all right, a little Fandom Minutes for everybody. And for all of us, we have spoken. See you guys next week.